Okay, I'm back. Oh my goodness, I told you, every time I come on here trying to make a video, my cats are literally like little children. They have to act crazy because they're not getting any attention. But as I was getting into my story, here's my testimony on my story on how I came to New Mexico. It really is, when I look back at it now, I didn't understand it a year and a half ago, but it makes so much sense to me now, and I really see how God has guided me to where I am today and how he has continued to guide me. And even, you know, going through certain things in my life and being really unsure about what is to come, looking back at how God had been with me and brought me through this time, it makes me even more confident that he's got me in the future and that I don't need to stress and worry. So let me dive into my story, you guys. I am an actress. I talk about it quite frequently. I have been pursuing my dream and becoming a full-time actress for about 5 to 6 years now. And let me tell you, man, it is tough. Anybody who is an actor knows, like, it is so freaking tough. The toughest thing is just to get into the door, right? To be a person that has been on TV, to build up your credits, to be a person that is recognized. Because once you start getting on TV and you start building up your credits, then people will be like, oh, okay, they have experience, they've been on TV, there's somebody I can trust, you know, and you just keep working on your craft. You want to become a better actor each time. So this is something that takes sometimes years. And I realize that I'm not in it for a short sprint, I'm in it for the long run. I always say there's no age limit on becoming an actor. I'm gonna do it forever until I make it. That's my mindset. So I'm an actress, okay? I've been pursuing my dream. I lived in Arizona. Arizona is a great place to live. I love this state so freaking much. However, it was not the best acting state at the time because it was more of a commercial market. So I knew it was time for me to move. And that God told me, and I felt that in my heart, in my intuition, in my spirit, that was from God. But if I tell that story, that will just be a whole nother rampage. So just know, God put that in my heart. It was time to leave Arizona. It was time to move and really pursue my dream. So once I felt that on my heart in October, I think it was October of 2021. I ended up actually moving to New Mexico July 9th of 2021. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 9 months later is when I actually moved. So God planted the seed. I mean, the seed has been there before, but it was really on my heart in that October, and I knew it was time for me to move. Okay, so going back now, I knew it was time for me to move. I'm like, okay, God, wonderful. I feel it. It's time for me to take a step. All my friends and family are in Arizona. I'm really comfortable here, but it's time for me to grow and get outside of my comfort zone. So when that happened, of course, you know, being an actress, you don't make a lot of money until you make it big and you're on a regular TV show, or you're just working frequently, or you're in a big movie or so. But I'm also a teacher. So that's my, you know, my primary income right now, is being a teacher. So I needed to get a job. I couldn't just get up and move myself to another state. I needed to get a job. Ooh, my hair. Let me just take it out of this. So I started looking around to get a job. Now, this is where and notice how I said Danielle Parker, wanted to go to California. I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to California. That's where all actors and actresses make it. So I'm moving to California. I told my family, I told my ex-boyfriend, right at the time we were still together. So I'll just call him my boyfriend for the story because we were still together at the time. So I told my boyfriend, yeah, I'm moving to California. And shout out to him. He's such a wise man. He's like, when I would tell him that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm moving to California because God told me. That's what I said. Danielle, I was trying to manipulate God. You can never do that. I'd be like, yeah, God told me I need to move to California. And he'd be like, Danielle, God did not tell you you're moving to California. That's what you want. And I was like, please, okay? God told me I'm moving to California. God said I'm moving, so I'm moving. He was right. Shout out to you. You were right. You were so right. God never told me to move to California. And let me explain how. So I made the decision I'm gonna move, which I did. And I thought, oh, I'm moving to California. Guys, I literally had about 20, maybe more, I don't even know, 20 interviews to get a teaching job. And not one of the schools gave me the job. Not one of them offered me a position. And okay, I'm not a big bragger. I'm pretty humble, but come on. I think I'm a great teacher. I have a good personality, I think. And you know, I really care about my students. Now that I know I care about my students. So I couldn't understand, how could I not get offered one single position out of any of the schools that I interviewed for? It did not make sense to me. So it was for months I was interviewing, and I remember it was getting close to the end of the school year and I still did not have a job. And at this point I was like, oh, okay, God, I know you want me to move, but nothing is working out. Like, I'm interviewing everywhere and nobody's giving me a freaking job. So that's when I had to step back and I had to get real with myself, and I remember I turned back to God and I was like, okay, God, do you not want me to go to California? Like, what do you want? I'm open-minded. I trust you. Like, show me, you know, where you want me to go. I remember I prayed a prayer similar to that. And long and behold, it was a day or a couple days after, very quickly after I prayed that prayer, I got the idea of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's so funny because I was born here, you guys. I was born in Albuquerque. Me and my brother both were. And I had some friends from my studio in Arizona that moved to Albuquerque to be an actor, and they had some great success. They ended up on TV shows. Like, it's a really good film market here, but most people just think, oh no, I'm gonna go straight to California. But that doesn't always work out. So I just remember thinking, okay, Albuquerque, sure, God, I'm gonna throw out a few applications and I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna be open-minded about it. So I remember I was on, you know, all the job sites, and I was like, okay, let me start applying to New Mexico. Guys, I remember I interviewed with 3 schools. Every single school offered me a position. Every single school. If that is not a sign that I'm supposed to be here and not in California, then I don't know what is. Like, how clear could that be? And I was like, holy schmoly, what? It was just crazy. So I ended up accepting a position, you know, at the school that offered, well, 3 of them offered, but I ended up accepting one of the positions. And New Mexico, I moved to New Mexico. It's so funny, guys. Like, the story really didn't have to be this long, but the point of this whole story is honestly just to show you that if you don't know, and this is what I've learned, because I used to be really bad at listening to God and really like listening to my intuition, but if you want something, okay, and you're questioning whether or not you should do it or what God is telling you to do, the biggest thing that I learned is you pray about it. You talk to God about it, and sometimes you'll have, you know, that answer or that clarification pretty quick. Sometimes it might take a while. For me, I prayed about moving, or I remember I thought about moving, and I knew I was supposed to move. I felt that in my heart and my gut. So God answered that prayer. And then the second step was me figuring out to move where. Well, see, this is where I made a mistake. If I would have listened to God more and prayed about it more, I'm sure he would have showed me not to go to California. And like I said, some actors, I'm sure that's for them, but that was not where I'm supposed to be, right? We all have our own paths. Obviously, God had another plan. If I would have just listened to him, I wouldn't have to have gone through all that letdown and, you know, the 20 interviews that I did. But by going through that, it became very clear that that was not for me. So that was super eye-opening, and that led me to where I was supposed to be. So I prayed, I waited, and then once I didn't hear from God, I thought I didn't, so I was like, fine, okay, California. I took action amongst there. It didn't work out, so I went back to the drawing board, which is prayer, right? I turned to God about it, and then God put on my heart, be open-minded, Albuquerque. So then I ended up going to Albuquerque. Or I ended up, you know, getting interviewed and everything, and I ended up moving to New Mexico. It's really crazy how God works. If we would just stop and listen and be open-minded about it, all of the answers are right there. And I've learned that the hard way through many years, but I'm definitely getting stronger with my faith and with hearing God, Because God talks to us all the time, you guys. We're just too stubborn because we want to do things our own way. Like me thinking I'm going to California, which God never had that intention for me. Not right now anyway. I'm not saying down the road, but as of now, he didn't want me to go to California. And to wrap this up, because I didn't want to make this video that long, I now see even more, you guys, why God wanted me to go to New Mexico. So not only was I born here, okay, I have an uncle that lives here. My mom had not talked to her brother. Is that a word? Talked? My mom had not talked to her brother in a very long time, maybe, I don't know, 7 years. So by me moving to New Mexico, they reconnected. That was really beautiful. And I'm sorry if I get emotional. It's just really great how God works. Also, God knew that my brother and his wife were going to be moving here before I did, because I moved to New Mexico first, and then my brother ended up getting a promotion. So he came to New Mexico too. Out of like all the places, guys, he's now in New Mexico. And I've been feeling that me and my brother weren't as close anymore, which kind of made me sad because we started drifting. And now that he's here, like, we're able to restore that relationship, and he's married, so I'm getting to be closer. Hey, shorty, I'm getting to be closer with his wife. And on top of that, you guys, they're pregnant. So I'm gonna be an auntie, and I'm gonna actually be here to be in the baby's life. So it's like, these little small factors, like God can foresee all that. And the things that we think that we want, he can be protecting us. Because I look back and I'm like, man, if I would have went to California, I would have really struggled there. I probably would barely be able to get by on my rent. The cost of living is so much cheaper here. It's so incredible how he knows things before we do. And dude, my cat. And yeah, so to wrap the story up, guys, that's my testimony on how I got to New Mexico. It's a really cool story. I really love sharing it because it just shows how it truly was from God. Like, he guided me where I'm supposed to be the whole time. And I'm just excited to keep following him. There's a lot of things in my life right now that I'm questioning. You know, I got out of a long relationship, and I've just done a lot of growth on my own internally. Shorty, be quiet. Hold on. Oh my goodness. And I just kind of, I wonder about my future. Like, hey, am I ever going to get married? Am I ever going to have children? Like, a lot of this I question, but it's like, God's got me, and I keep talking about it, and I'm patient. And with my acting, I've done a really good job in just giving that to God. Like, I'm like, you got my acting, God. I'm not even gonna stress about it. Every time I get an audition, I'm so grateful. Every time I book something, I'm so grateful, but it's in his hands ultimately. Like, he knows when I'm gonna be successful. He knows, what shows I'm gonna book. What's meant for me will be for me. So keep that in mind. What's meant for y'all will truly be for y'all. I'm gonna end it there. Love y'all. God's good. Have a good day. Night. I said good night because it's night here, but if you're watching this during the morning, then good morning. Bye.